All right. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Okay, you guys should be able to see my screen. Woo! Y'all, we are literally in the home stretch. It is session 6 of Agent Launch Lab, and this is our last on Zoom session. Don't forget, our final session is this Wednesday, May 6th, at our office. Where we'll do our final session. Plus, I have a very special offer I'll be sharing with you guys that day, recognition, all of the things. So I'm excited to see you guys there. And we're going to get into it. Are y'all ready? Whoop, whoop. Let's go. All right. So today's topic is one of my favorites, and it is open houses. Woohoo! I love open houses. You're going to love open houses. Open houses are such a powerful way to grow your business as a new agent or as any agent. And so I'm excited to dive into that today and talk about all of the stuff so that you can not only know open houses, but do them really well. We're going to talk about how to host an epic open house, chapter 15 in the Rookie Real Estate Agent. So, my first question, put in the chat, and no judgment either way, who here thinks an open house is just, sitting in a house waiting for people to walk in? Or who here has ever asked, as a new agent, do open houses really work? Like, is that really something that can grow my business? Um, Spoiler alert, yes, it is. And honestly, there are a lot of agents that are misinformed with open houses and do think that it's just sitting there and waiting for people to walk in. And that's why a lot of people don't do open houses or think that they don't work, but they do. What I want you to think about is that an open house is a strategic lead generation event. It is a strategic lead generation event. It's not just the event itself that brings you the business, it's everything around it, the preparation, the follow-up, and everything that goes into that. And so you don't, our goal today is, of course, to help you understand the entire strategy behind making an open house super successful. And what I want you to think about is that, you don't get paid for hosting an open house, right? You do them for free, but you get paid. The reason why they're so incredibly valuable is because they bring you clients. I always tell new agents, it's like, where else can you literally just be sitting there or standing there and somebody walks up and says, "Hey, I'd like to buy a house." Or sell a house, or hey, what other houses do you have, right? It instantly puts you in the path of potential buyers and sellers. So that's why it's so important what the preparation and follow-up looks like, because those clients are walking up to you, bringing you potential business. Okay. So you don't get paid for hosting the open house. You get paid for what you do essentially before and after. In my opinion, especially after the preparation and follow-up is key, 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 key. Now, just to recap, Session 3, we talked about conversations. Session 4, we talked about converting those conversations into appointments. Session 5, we talked about how to actually have those appointments and sign clients. And session 6, today, we're going to talk about creating opportunities at scale. So, how to host an epic open house. There's basically 4 steps to an epic open house. And here it is. Bam. Simple. Take a screenshot, write it down. As a new agent, or like I said, any agent that wants to grow their business, this is absolutely what you'll be doing every single week. And let me just use my husband as an example, you guys, like, because I can tell you from our real life, real world example. So he got into real estate before me. He's been in the industry almost 10 years. And when he was a new agent, I knew nothing about real estate because I was not even in the industry, but I watched him grow his business. And that whole first year, he just decided, you know what, I'm going to do open houses. I'm going to do them every single weekend to find clients. And my husband, I'm not kidding, without fail, every single weekend was doing, I would say at least one, but a lot of times 2 or 3 open houses every single weekend. And he didn't even do this entire strategy we're going to talk about today. Like he did not have like he's not really like a systems guy, right? Like so I am like super super passionate about follow up and systems. He's not. So I'm telling you this to be like this works no matter how great you are at systems or not, because he did follow up with people, but he self descriptively will say, I would do an open house and have five people show up that were potential, but my goal is just to get one client from every open house, and that's what he did. Long story short, that first year he made well over six figures in his first full year as a real estate agent, completely from leads he generated from open houses. So, and that was without any follow-up system. So just imagine if you implement these systems and do this strategically, like worst case scenario, you're going to make great money. Best case scenario, you're going to make even greater money and have a lot of clients. So, but the key is you have to do open houses consistently. So, four steps is number one, you're going to select a listing. Number two, you're going to market the open house. Number three, you're going to host the open house. And number four, you're going to follow up and win those clients. Now, I just want to say with a caveat, most agents, the reason some agents will say, oh, open houses don't really work, they're not a thing, blah, 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 is because most agents only do step three. They just host the open house and that's it. And that's why it doesn't work, because it's all of the one, two, and the four that actually really bring you the results. And I do want to say, just as a side note, if you are a part of our firm at Keller Williams Connected, selecting the listing is one of my favorite advantages that we have for agents because we're number one in market share in the area. And even though people ask me this all the time, they're like, your firm's in South Carolina, blah, blah, blah. Well, 46% of our current listings, which we have about 240 current active listings, 46% of them are all in North Carolina. The rest are in South Carolina. And so one of the things I get so excited about for agents is the fact that you get to choose your listings and you can choose what part of town you want to work in, what price point you want to be in, how long has it been on the market. Because our office is not small, we don't just have 10 listings to choose from or whatever. And so you really get pick of the litter and you get to choose, if you live in Matthews, do listings in Matthews, right? Or whatever it is. And so you get to select the listing and then we teach you how to do all of these other steps. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This is your 1 week plan for hosting an epic open house to get really, really strong results. So the first thing we're going to do is day one, we are going to select a listing. We're going to select a listing. Okay. So that was right here. Research, identify a house to hold open, and set a date. Now, you can just go on the MLS, but at our office, we have a private closed Facebook group and a system where you can see all of our current listings and open houses available. So it makes it really easy to choose which one you're going to do. Excuse me. I know I mentioned that you can choose geographically, like example, if you live in Matthews, you want to work in Matthews, do open houses in Matthews. But you also can be thinking about when you're selecting a listing to do an open house at, what's a high traffic location? Like what's going to be really sought after versus off the beaten path, nobody might find it, right? Or really popular neighborhoods. What's a attractive or updated home? Is it very pretty or is it like, holy smokes, this is a tear down? Not many people go to open houses at tear downs, right? But one that has really pretty pictures and is looking good is going to attract a lot of eyeballs. The right price point. So all price points can be great, right? But you can think about, on one hand, what type of client do I want to attract? Let me be in that price point. But also, what's the hot price point right now? So I love, the $300,000 range price point. It's a great attractor for first-time home buyers, 300, 400. Also, if you look at the data, one of the hottest price points in the Charlotte market right now is from about 700 to 999. So that's a great price point to be looking at opportunities in as well, specifically. And then also you want to be checking what's happening in that neighborhood. Is everything for sale? Is nothing for sale? What's happened? Like, did all the listings last week all go under contract immediately? You can try to do some research that way to figure out, is this a hot neighborhood? Because if it is, it's going to be a great open house. And then of course you want to pick a time that makes sense. I always say, like, you want to think about little things, like, so for example, in the fall around here, you might not want to have an open house right during a Carolina Panthers football game or during the biggest college football weekend or whatever, right? Or if you know it's going to pour down rain, the forecast says 5 days from now. I know that sounds weird, but like rain, people don't go out, right? Look at church, right? How often do churches joke that if it rains, you get like an empty church, right? It's just how we are around here in the South, right? So Little things you can consider like that. Or there's a strawberry festival in Fort Mill. Is this house at the strawberry festival and it's going to be impacted by traffic and parking in that area? Those are things to be thinking about, right? So overall, if the house is wrong, the whole strategy is weak. So it's important to make sure you pick a great option. Now, that's on day one. So let's just say, if it's 7 days, it might be last the couple days before now. But, let's just say it's Monday and you're doing that. The next thing you're going to do, day 2 through 5, is all about marketing. It's all about marketing and promoting that open house. So I really want you to think about this. If nobody knows that you have an open house, guess what? No one's coming because they don't know. It's like having a party but not inviting anybody and wondering why no one came, right? So you got to promote, promote, promote. So you want to advertise on the MLS. You can set up a listing to show that there's an open house at this time, and then that will populate to Zillow. So that helps. You want to create marketing materials that you can put on Facebook, Instagram, etc. I also recommend, in addition to social posts, an email blast to your database, signs going out in the neighborhood early so people can start to see it and get excited. Day 3, you're going to invite people. Now, we call this circle prospecting. There's a lot of ways you can do this, and depending on who you know in the neighborhood, this can be a little bit different, and you'll learn about this in a little bit more depth in our new agent training. But for example, you want to text your database. Like first of all, who's in your pipeline that could be a buyer that said they want to buy in that price point 6 months from now or whatever. You want to text them, even just to say, hey, I know you said you're ready in 6 months, but this is in your price point. If you want to come by and check it out, would love to see you. Or people that are just your top people that you're looking for referrals from, send them the listing and say, hey, I know you're probably not in the market, but I've got this open house. This is a fantastic listing. Do you know anybody that might potentially be interested in it? I'd love to connect and make sure they get the information, right? So it's thinking about your world. Like, it's not just about, okay, well, these 40 people I know are not going to buy, sell. That's fine. But who do they know? You're working through people to meet people. So text your database, invite neighbors. That's what circle prospecting is they say 10, 10, 10. So meaning inviting the 10 houses to the left of the listing, 10 houses to the right of the listing, and 10 houses across the street from the listing in the neighborhood, and inviting those neighbors to come. You can always market it as like choose your neighbor, right? Because they can come to the house and then refer potential clients to you. So that's a great way to potentially find the listings and just build interest. So that's what circle prospecting is. And then partnering with a lender or other business is also a great thing to do here. So if you have a lender, a loan officer that's doing the open house with you, you both can be blasting it and promoting it to your databases. So that lender, if it's a good business partner, whether it's a lender, a home inspector, or someone else, they should be bringing business to you, not just you bringing business to them. And so this is a great way that you partner together to promote an open house and find the buyer. And an easy thing to say if you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say when I text my database, when I invite these neighbors, when I partner with a business vendor? You say, I'm hosting an open house this weekend in your neighborhood. That's what you're going to say to neighbors. Do you know anyone looking to move in the area? So if you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say when you can knock on these doors in the neighborhood or send flyers or call them? That's what you say. You're not saying, hey, do you know anyone who wants to buy or sell? You say, hey, just a courtesy. I want to let you know I'm hosting an open house at 123 Main Street, right down the road this weekend. So just so you know, in case there's any parking, that's what the cars are doing. And also, do you happen to know anyone looking to move into the area here? I'd love to, help you find a great new neighbor. Then day 4, you're going to start promoting online. So day 1 and 2 are MLS and your world, right? The neighborhood where the listing is, your circle of people you know, all of those things. Day 4, we're going to advertise on social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, Instagram stories, Facebook groups. You can go on if you're a part of our office, we have a free marketing suite of templates for our agents, where you can create a just listed social media post and put it out there to the world to get more eyeballs on this. And especially like Facebook groups are a great one to promote on and see who knows people who might want to come. And day five, we're putting up our directional signs everywhere. I say a minimum of 10 directional signs, in my opinion, need to go out for a great open house. So a lot within the neighborhood, especially if there's like a lot of turns, it's not just like one road before the driveway. You need a lot of signs to help people find it, and then quite a few out on the roads leading up to that neighborhood as well. Just like any like a festival or a company that's advertising, they're going to do a lot of directional signs, right? So, and that's something that you can get through our office, or we also have a discount through buildasign.com to give you a 50% discount with our promo code. So, yay for open house signs. This, of course, creates urgency and visibility. You want to think about, for lack of a better way to say it, you're creating a frenzy. You want to, it's like Black Friday, right? The more you can't really over communicate about an open house. The more that people hear about it and know about it, the more excited they're going to become. Then, of course, day six, you're going to block off the day. That's your open house date, by the way, is day six. So let's say if that's Saturday, then you're starting this on the Sunday before and all the way up to Saturday. Saturday's day six. Your open house, let's just say, is 11 to 1, and you are blocking off your time. You're not going to be distracted. One of the most important things that I find really trips people up with open houses is you must require a sign in. If you do not get people's contact information, you're wasting your time at an open house. And also, if you don't talk to people, I know that sounds weird, but like I know agents who have been like, I don't know why open houses are not working for me. And then I'll go with them to one. And I'm like, why are you standing in the corner? People walk in and you're just like, hey, check it out. Let me know if you have questions. That is not your job at an open house. Really, what your job is at an open house as an agent, you guys, is to connect. You're a professional connector. Your job is to make a relationship with those people as soon as you possibly can, especially because a lot of times, if people are going to open houses, a lot of times they're going to more than one. They might go to two or three that day, and all of them have an agent working them. So you've got to stay memorable and build that connection. This is like your, you know, I joke that I compare open houses to like dating, right? Like they first walk in, you're flirting, you got to get their attention. And then, you've got to get them on a second date, which is seeing a house after this open house. I'll get to that later, but you must require a sign in. Here's how I word this to make it really simple. Now, people have different opinions on this, so it's to each their own. Some people love to do a digital sign in because you can do a Google form that populates right to like your CRM, and that's great. Personally, for me, I found when I did digital that less people filled it out for some reason. So if you do digital, I would recommend you hold your tablet or computer and just say, let me sign you in real quick, and you type it in for them. But Josh and I like to do a paper sign in form. We have a couple like dummy names at the top to help people psychologically feel good about it. And then when they walk in, we just say, hey, welcome. So glad you're here. Hey, do me a favor really quick, just for liability purposes, we require that everyone sign in. So if you'll just sign in right there, and then I've got a bunch of information right here, disclosures and information about the property for you. So I just blame it on like the rules, right? I'm not like, hey, will you sign in for me? No, I'm like, hey, welcome. Hey, before you check out the house, we do require that everyone sign in for liability purposes. So you can go ahead and do that right here. And then I've got a packet of info for you. While they're doing that, I'm making chit chat without distracting them. So they might be writing in and I'll just say, how did you find us today? Or what brought you to the area? Have you guys been looking for a home for a while? Just try to like learn a little bit about them, and I'm looking for a connection, right? So your goal really when they're signing in and they're in that entryway in 30 seconds, you want to find some sort of connection, and you're going to be able to do that by asking a lot of questions without interrogating them. So friendly questions. Hey, welcome. Go ahead and sign in, liability purposes, da da da. Hey, how'd you guys find us today? Have you been looking for homes for a while? What attracted you to this home? Oh my gosh, they brought their kids with them. Your kids are so cute. How old are they? If you have kids, like that's my go-to, right? Like, oh, mine are 4 and 7. They look like they're the same age. That's so fun. Hey, there's a kid-friendly thing in the back. Check it out, or whatever, right? So I'm just giving you some examples, but or I'll just give them a compliment. Oh my gosh, I love your jacket. That is so cute. Where'd you get it from? Oh, gosh, love Target, right? I'm just building conversation with them, right? And you're paying attention. Pay attention and adapt. By the way, if I start asking them questions and I start to sense that they're standoffish or they're like very reserved, I'm not going to be like, blah, 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 blah. right? I'm going to also be more reserved. So you've got to pay attention to the person. And if they're super high I personality, friendly, and social, I'm going to capitalize on that. Or if they're not, I'm going to focus much more on the details. Hey, here's your property disclosures. Here's the three things I recommend you check out in the house. Make sure to take a look at the backyard. Good to know. I normally try to know a few basic facts. So, for example, hey, good to know when you check out the backyard, there's an easement to your left, and everything is fully fenced. Or, by the way, they already have plans put together to put in a pool. So, if you want to see the blueprint, we have that. Or, hey, by the way, don't forget to check out, they turned the basement into a fully finished in-law suite or whatever the thing is, right? Make sure to check out the giant island in the kitchen. One time we had a listing where the island, I swear, was like larger than a California king size bed. Like it was a gigantic island. And so it was a real talking point. And then of course stay safe, you guys. That's super important. Personal recommendation, like as a woman, this is me, and I know some people might say I'm a big scaredy cat, but that's fine. I don't do open houses alone. I just don't. I don't feel safe. Because you just never know. There are crimes that happen out in the world. There's crazy people. There's things. And so for me, I always do open houses with my husband, or if I wasn't doing an open house with my husband, I'm doing an open house with a lender or somebody else that wants to do it with me. I never go to open houses alone for safety. If you do, just be prepared to stay safe. You know what I mean? Like, we don't lock the front door behind us, right? Um, or one thing, speaking of locking the front door, if I'm doing an open house by myself and I'm there, the house is empty, and I'm getting set up for the open house, I will walk in and then lock the front door behind me and get set up. So I don't have to worry about walking around the house if someone has come in that I didn't know was coming in, right? It's just the little things. But that's important to keep in mind. Um, I know I already said this, but you just want to think about when you're doing open houses, you guys, you are not a greeter. You're not a greeter. You're a lead converter. That's your mission when people walk in is to meet them. You're not getting paid to greet them and thank them for coming, right? Your job is to find the people that are ready to go. Now, it's also really important keep in mind if they say they have an agent, which a lot of people do have an agent and a lot of other people don't, but will say that they do. So that if they say, "Oh, I have an agent," I'll say, "Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. What's their name?" It's such a small world, I might know them. And if they're like, they don't really have an agent. Or if they're like, oh, it's Sally something, I can't remember her name, they probably don't have an agent. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, it's my best friend Susie Q. Cool, right? We don't pursue people that already have an agent. So, and another thing you can ask when they're signing in, hey, are you currently browsing or are you actively looking? Where are you at in your home buying process? You can kind of figure out. And then day 7, after you've done the open house, your job after that, immediately the next day, not a week later, is to follow up, follow up, follow up. You're going to put all of those attendees on a follow-up plan. I recommend that your follow-up plan involves email automation so that people are automatically getting touches from you. I like to, if I built a relationship with them and they talk to me, they're not represented, I'm going to put it together an MLS home search for them that's going to automatically send them homes that could be of interest to them. And then I'm going to follow up with them via phone call and text message throughout the week. Here's a really great follow-up text that you can send to them afterwards. You can say, hey, it was great meeting you at the open house. I'd love to help you find something that fits exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to set up time for a quick chat? And they're going to respond or not respond. Let's say they don't respond. Then what do you do? Well, after that, my thought is I'm always reaching out with value. So let's say they didn't respond. 3 days later, I'm going to call them. They're probably not going to answer. And then I'm going to text them and say, hey, Mary, it's Lori. We met at the open house on Saturday. I just wanted to reach out because I saw a property hit the market that I think could be perfect for you. Here's the link. Have you seen this one? Or hey, Mary, it's Friday. I'm going to follow up with them again on Friday, by the way. And I'm going to say, let's say they haven't talked to me. Hey, I'm getting ready for the weekend. I happen to have availability this Saturday for some additional showings. Do you want me to put a few on the calendar? I'd love to show you some property. So I am literally just assuming the sale. I'm assuming that they want to work with me until they tell me that they don't, right? And I'm going to follow up with pleasant persistence, adding value. What I'm not doing is just calling them over and over again and saying, hey, what do you think? You want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? You've got to show remember we talked about earlier on in this training, make me feel important, demonstrate that you care, add value, add value, add value, and then you will build trust over time. Oh, I didn't realize the slide was here. Sorry, I just stayed here the whole time. So we talked about this market research, location type for selecting your listing. Um, we talked about open house marketing, directional signs. We talked about all these things. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we've got all that. Da, 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 block off our day. We've got all that. Okay. So put in the chat, what value do open houses provide other than potential buyers for a listing? I would like to hear what you think about that. Put in the chat, what value do open houses provide for you other than potential buyers for a listing? And then what's a marketing or follow-up touch that's been memorable for you following an event? I would love to hear that too. If you've attended an event and there was a follow-up touch or something that happened afterwards that stuck in your head or stood out, put it in the chat. I would love to hear that from you. Let's see what you guys have to say. Oh, I love that. Joey said open houses are a must. Heck yeah. Oh, you didn't receive any post-session 5 emails, Joey. Thank you for letting me know. I'll make sure that got sent out. I don't know why. That's weird. I'll be happy to do an open house for anyone that doesn't want to do it. Yes. Jenna said it gets your name out in the public and develops future business. Yes. So, absolutely. In addition to open houses providing potential buyers for that listing, it gets your name out. So, here's what I want you to think about. Let's say you do an open house and 0 people come in, because sometimes that happens, by the way. Open houses are completely a numbers game. That's why you've got to do a lot of them, because some are nothing, some are a bunch, and everywhere in between. One of the most powerful things you can do if you're at an open house and nobody's there is social media marketing. So do a home tour video and create a reel or an Instagram story about it. Create a YouTube video for that listing, create a post, do some polls, interact with people. Marketing's funny in that, we all have probably seen this happen in the world that like marketing, what am I trying to say? It's basically like you can make anything look good on marketing. And I don't mean this in a manipulative way, but I mean this in a way of like, this is your opportunity. Whether anybody comes into that open house or not, people on social media in your database don't necessarily need to know that, right? You can just do a great home tour, do some videos, look busy, put it out there. The more that you appear busy and in high demand and like I'm got things going on, the more you're attracting people in your database that are watching you right now silently going, well, I'm going to see how she does first. You need to look successful. And so use that open house as your marketing time, if nothing else. So, yes, could not agree more with that. Yes, I would open house will also help me learn inventory. Oh, that's so true, Joey. Yes, it is so, so powerful for learning inventory around your area. Open house would give me an opportunity to meet new people. Yes. Practice having real estate conversations. Double yes. And get your name out into the community, learn more about the people. This is so good, Mary Morgan. Absolutely. Absolutely. All of those things. The more that you just start doing it, the more confident you become. And so that's really, really important as far as practicing conversations and just being comfortable. So I love that you guys said those things. What do open houses really do? Well, of course, like we just kind of talked about, you guys gave me a lot of really great points. Yes, it helps you find a buyer, helps you find a client, but also helps you build your database, right? If people come in and they're underrepresented, all of them, you better believe, are going in my database and, they might turn into a client immediately, or I have somebody that we met at an open house, my husband and I, back in like 2021. And I've been nurturing him ever since. He just responded to something I sent out the other day and was like, basically, the situation changed when he loves receiving my information. So I'm just going to keep on nurturing him. One day, he's going to be a ready, willing, and able buyer or seller, or he's going to refer me to somebody. And so I keep people in my database and nurture them, nurture them, nurture them. Practice conversations. You guys said that one. Learning the market. You guys said that one. And meeting neighbors, which are future sellers. These are all really, really phenomenal reasons to do open houses. So, absolutely. Now, I would recommend that you practice and role play, which you can do with our new agent community once you're licensed, working through scenarios. So, for example, a visitor walks in that's just looking. What are you going to say? A neighbor comes in that's just a curious. We call them a looky-loo. What are you going to say? A buyer is serious but unsure. These are all different conversations that you're going to approach in different ways. So I think that that's really important to be thinking about. Okay. And I'll just give you some examples since we're here together. So a visitor walks in and is just looking. And they say, "Oh, I'm just looking." I'd say, "Oh my gosh, no worries. Let me tell you, here's my favorite three things about the house." I still always tell them they have to sign in, no matter who they are. They all have to sign in, by the way, right? But then I say, "Oh my gosh, that's awesome. You're just looking great. Do you have any like plans to buy or sell in the future? Tell me a little bit about that." So I'm just asking questions to get to know more about them. And they might say, "Oh gosh, yeah, I mean, well, we're thinking in maybe 6 months we might, and we live down the road, so we might sell, so we want to see what's happening out there." And so I'm gonna make a note in their database. I'm gonna write that down, right? They want to sell in 6 months. And I would say, "Oh, okay, great. Like, hey, if you sell, what do you think would be the biggest attractor for your house? What's your favorite thing about your home? Or if you sell, are you wanting to move locally or somewhere else, right?" So I'm just gonna get to know them because just looking, a lot of times they are ready, but they don't trust you yet, so they're not gonna tell you they're ready. Or you need to nurture them and keep in relationship with them. Because honestly, here's the thing. No, there's a few random exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, nobody's really like just looking. And what I mean is like you could do anything with your Saturday. You know what I'm saying? If you could do anything with your Saturday and you literally have zero interest in buying or selling in the relatively near future, how likely are you to just like spend your time looking at open houses? Probably not likely. Now, I know there's exceptions to the rule. Someone's going to come to me and be like, "That's me, actually. I like to look at open houses every weekend, even though I've never bought a house for 10 years." Okay, but that's very uncommon. So, because we're busy humans, right? And so typically we only, like, I'm not going to go to a furniture store to look at couches unless I might need to buy a couch at some time in the near future, right? Same thing with houses. So, I don't buy that just looking. That's why I'm going to just nurture, 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 build a relationship because they probably just don't trust me yet to tell me their real agenda. Make sense? Neighbor comes in and just curious, that's a really great conversation to say, "Oh my gosh, I love that you came by, Sally Sue from next door. Check out the house. I know that's really fun. By the way, this is a great time to choose your neighbor, Sally Sue. Do you happen to know anybody that might be looking in this price point? I mean, this could be a great opportunity that you get to pick who you have to live next to, that's a great little conversation you can have. And then as you get to know someone and they open up, they'll tell you more. That makes sense. Buyer who's serious but unsure. Now, when a buyer is serious but unsure, where they're like, "We are looking, we don't have an agent, we like this house, but it's not perfect." Here's what I do to prepare. Before I do an open house, I get familiar with the market. My goal is, now this doesn't always happen perfectly, but my goal is to find 1 to 2 vacant homes for sale in the relative vicinity that is similar to this house. Why vacant? Because that's what we call go and show. Typically, when a house is vacant, you can schedule a showing like 5 minutes before the showing and just go because nobody's there, right? Now, you can do this with homes that are not vacant as well. It's just different for scheduling. But what I do is I have that in my back pocket of like, okay, down the road, there's this house and this house that's, checks similar boxes, right? So someone comes in, they're unsure. And I would say, "Oh my gosh, I totally hear you. You said you really wanted, a primary on the main floor and you really want a, walkout basement or something." Well, I'll tell you what, I actually have of 2 other listings that are right around the corner from here that could be great fits for you. I get done with this open house at 1. Do you want to meet over there at say like 1:30 or 2? I'll show you the properties and see if those are better for you. So that's what I call going on a second date. My goal is when I meet somebody that's like ready right now, not represented, here's what you don't want to do. You do not want them to leave your space and then you just have to call them later. It's going to be so much harder. Once they leave and you don't have an appointment set up, you're going to be chasing them around. And so your goal is always leave with an appointment. So I'm not telling them that it's an appointment, right? Like, meaning I'm not like, "Let's have an appointment," right? I'm just serving their need. There's this house right around the corner that I saw that's similar to that. And let's say there's not any vacant, then I would say, there's a house around the corner. It could be perfect for you. I noticed they have availability for a showing this afternoon at 4 or tomorrow at this time. Why don't we schedule something? I'd love to see what you think and see if that's a better fit for you. Once you get them on that second date, if you will, it psychologically starts to tie them to you and solidifies the relationship. And so that is one of my favorite strategies for open houses is I'm going to get them on a second date with me as soon as possible And that psychologically ties them to me and makes it so much easier to have them as a solid client in my pipeline. Does that make sense? Okay, this was an easy day today. Really, what I want you to be thinking about from today, I want you to write down if you're already licensed, when is your next open house going to be? Now, if you're not already licensed, I want you to write down what's my goal for open houses? Do I want to do one every weekend, on Saturdays, on Friday nights, on Sundays? What is your ideal goal and your ideal location for open houses in the city? The second thing I want you to write down is your basic marketing plan. Who do you want to invite and where do you want to post about your open house? So, are you going to send out an email to your database? Are you going to promote it on Instagram or will it be Facebook or YouTube or TikTok? Will you walk the neighborhood or are you going to email blast? What pieces of the marketing plan resonate the most with you and how do you want that to show up? And then the last thing I want you to write down is what is your follow-up plan going to be? Are you going to text, call, ask for an appointment, or all of the above? What resonates with you the most? Now, I'm telling you, these are all things that, like, I'm telling you best practices, things that work for me. But the beauty of it is you get to put your own stamp on it. And that's why I'm saying write down what your follow-up is going to be. It doesn't have to be exactly how I do it, it gets to be how you do it. So you now have the system to create opportunities anytime you want. If I'm telling you, this is truly proven. If you ever feel stuck in this business, go host an open house. It is the fastest way to get unstuck. I have countless agents that I've helped develop that built their entire business on open houses. They work. No one can say that they don't work 99.9% of the time. If they don't work, you're either not executing them well with the follow-up and the prep work, or you only did one. You've got to do a lot of them. Open houses are, think about a deck of 52 cards. You know, if every client is a face card and you know they're in that deck, you're going to get a lot of numbers, right? Like a two, a five, a seven, if you start flipping those cards over. But eventually you're going to get a face card and then another face card and then five more number cards and then three face cards, right? But if you know that the face cards are in there, you're going to keep going. So that's what I want you to think about with open houses. The clients are in that deck of cards. You just have to keep going. If you just flip one or two over, then you're going to be like, there's no face cards in this deck. But that's not true. You're just not working the numbers. This business is not magical, it is mathematical. And when you decide to embrace the math and do the work, it starts to feel magical. So, most agents host one open house, they get no results, and they quit doing them. Why? Because of all the things I just said. They didn't market it well, they didn't engage with people, and they didn't follow up. What we're focusing on is a system, and that's the difference. That's the difference. If you're already licensed, your challenge after today is in the next 2 weeks, minimum, hold one open house, add 10 people to your database, and book 2 appointments. I'm telling you, it's not all going to instantaneously just mean that bam, you have 42 clients, but it absolutely over time works when you consistently do those things. I'm looking at the chat now real quick. Oh, I love this. Practicing conversations. Yes. What's the best day to throw an open house? Jenna asked. That's totally open to debate. Now, I would say it does depend on a lot of the things we talked about. Like, for example, if there's a Carolina Panthers football game, do not do it during that time, even if normally that would always be the time you do it, you know? So there's factors like that that you need to consider. Me and my husband, we like to do open houses on Saturday. 11 to 1 is one of our favorite times. But a lot of people also get great results Sunday afternoon, 1 to 3. That just depends. I also know agents that get results doing them on Thursday night, Friday night. So there's a lot of different things you can do there, but you can kind of play with it. So I guess what I'm saying is that there's not one guaranteed perfect day or time to throw an open house. You'll find based on your own experience and how you promote it, how you get the best results. But generally speaking, I would say Saturdays are super popular, but Sundays work too. And Thursdays and Fridays. So I know that's funny. Yes, research the area and events. Absolutely. If there's a parade, if there's a Christmas parade, for example, right? Then don't hold the open house during the Christmas parade. no one's going to come, right? Or if there's going to be, if Sunday is going to be sunny and 75 and Saturday is 40 and rainy, do it on the sunny day. I know that sounds weird, but those are little things that make a difference. Um, this also is a funny thing, but you can, if this doesn't happen all the time, but if a neighborhood has a like a community yard sale, that's a great day to do an open house because think about all the traffic going through that neighborhood for the yard sale. It's just additional traffic that you can attract to that listing. So just little things like that. Awesome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions at all? Comments, feedback? Awesome. Feel free to put it in the chat still. So, like I said, our final session of this series is this Wednesday at 11 a.m. at our office, 901 Dave Gibson Boulevard. That's where you want to be coming to. I'll make sure you guys all have the calendar invite for it as well. But we'll do our last session then, and then I'll have something very special that I'm going to be extending to you. So it's going to be great. And I'm excited to see you guys in person there and celebrate all of your success. Please reach out if you have questions before then, and I'll see you guys in person on Wednesday. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.